Okay, I'm on.
Okay. Perfect. I'm starting to see some answers come in around nutrition, physical activity. I'm going to go ahead and put folks on mute and then unmute yourself if you'd like to share. Preventing chronic disease and smoking, physical exercise for the community, and collaborating with community groups. That's really important, the collaboration piece. Just want to emphasize, if you're not currently collaborating with people outside of your agency, I really encourage that. If you're struggling coming up with partnerships, please do reach out to any one of us, Julie, Andrew, or myself, and we can help brainstorm with you, help be a bridge. If you're not able to make those connections, that's one of the resources we can provide here. Just kind of showing you how the words are coming up so you guys can see how close the work you're doing is with your colleagues, the other grantees. There are some grantees who are really excelling in certain areas that I'd like to connect with people who are challenged in that area, and vice versa. So it's important for us to see what other people are working on and be able to group you together where you can have some support. Okay, thank you guys for sharing and engaging me in this poll. I am going to build these into future presentations because it allows everyone to contribute at once, and we can keep track of your responses and look at them later. Okay, so the reason everyone is here. I'm going to unmute folks again so you can hear. We are talking about quarterly reporting, what this will look like for the rest of phase 2 and for the coming years. We are going, if you haven't already received the link to the SurveyMonkey, that's an issue, so please email me and let me know if the fact that we're doing a quarterly report via SurveyMonkey is a surprise to you. I apologize if you haven't gotten that link. We're going to go over it today, though, so don't have no fear. We're going to talk about the work plan and the update progress column that Andrew added for you all. We'll talk about what we expect there. And then I also just want to note for invoicing, you can submit your first invoice after your quarterly report and work plan updates are complete. This doesn't need to be an incredibly detailed invoice. Just let us know the things, the activities that you have completed. Even just letting us know in the invoice that you've completed the quarterly report and the work plan updates is enough. I have had a couple of questions on budgets and money if things have been moved around. It's okay to move your budget around from line item to line item. Our number one focus is that you remain focused on your work plan and your activities. So if you have to shift time to complete your work plan, I'm fine with that. However, non-allowable costs remain non-allowable costs. So you cannot shift money for construction and you cannot shift money for the purchase of equipment. So those are two hard and fast rules. If you have questions about what is construction, if you have questions about what is equipment, that's something to go ahead and pick up the phone and give Julie a call or myself a call. Consuelo will be back in a couple weeks and she'll be available to you as well. Go ahead and call us and ask us those budget questions if it's not clear to you. Okay, so I have another question for you. It's just a yes or no. And it's pretty much a true or false. I have looked at the quarterly report in SurveyMonkey. Answer A or B. A is yes, you have looked at it. B is no, you have not had a chance.
Nice.
All right. That just gives us a sense of where we're at in the group and how detailed we need to be when we review it. We do know that some folks have already completed the quarterly report. That's great. That's fine. It's also completely fine if you have not had a chance to look at it. If you started it and had questions and sort of freaked out, if you were overwhelmed by it, those are all acceptable responses. So thank you again for answering the questions. We are going to, in a minute, I'm going to pass the torch to Andrew. He is our program evaluator. He's going to be the one that's helping track our success and identify areas where we can be working harder or working smarter. So he is the lead author of this quarterly report. Can everyone confirm that you can see our survey on your screen? Okay. So Andrew's going to drive and go over the survey for you.
Okay. All right, good morning. So let's begin. All right, so the quarterly report. It is providing the ACORNS team with knowledge of your program status over this past quarter, so the past 3 months. Provide us the information will provide us with the ability to provide responsive assistance to help build capacity, thus supporting our collaboration. So a few things before we delve into all that you see on the screen. So you don't need to complete the survey in one sitting. You can save your work and pick up where you left off. And you can also, if you do complete the survey, click the submit and want to change answers, you have the ability to go back and make edits and change responses after you've submitted. Fantastic. We're also going to request that you include the number of people you've reached over these past 3 months somewhere on the survey. So you'll see there's going to be, there are a few locations where it would make likely most sense to include that information. I do apologize, I did not include a specific question on the survey as to how many of you reached, but I will be looking for that information and I'll be following up. I will follow up to ensure that we have that information. Fantastic. All right, so let us begin. So you see the quarterly report, the first page, the introduction page. As you see in red, we are giving an extension of a few weeks. Originally, it was due January 29th. We're giving you the extension through February 12th. So this first page, you see the bullets enumerated. More or less, those are showing the policy, systems, and environmental changes that we're looking for to provide the assistance to move forward within communities to meet the goals of this ACORNS project. So preventing tobacco use and exposure, healthy eating, increasing access to local foods, increasing access to exercise and or physical activity, and increasing community clinical linkages. So the quarterly report focuses on all of these domains, as well as how they connect with each other. All right, so let us move to the next page. As you see at the bottom, it does have some directions as to navigation. So clicking next, so the instruction page, basically answering the questions as they focus on chronic disease prevention and management strategies. And you will see throughout the survey spaces and comment boxes to provide thoughts or comments. Some of these are required, some are not. And you'll be able to see as we go through the survey today, as well as when you complete it on your own, which ones will be required. And if there's any box that's required and you don't have any information or it's not relevant, you could put a not applicable or something of that sort, that we're not proceeding with, not doing something. Just need to indicate if you are doing something relevant to that box. All right, so navigation instructions again. Forward is next, previous is the last page. So let us jump into the meat of the quarterly report. Okay, so first page, fairly simple, agency and project contact information. So these will all be required. I'll show you what happens if you didn't fill out any required box, what will appear on the page. So all of these fields, all of these boxes are required. So agency contact information, every single field, official project contact, as well as the project lead. If the official project contact and the project lead are the same, please still fill out that information, or you can write same as above. But you'll need to write same as above in every single box of the project lead. So let's see what happens if you don't fill out a box, what it'll say. So we didn't fill anything out. Let's hit the next button, and there we go. This question requires an answer. So simple enough. If that happens, that means that you need to submit some sort of response. So let us fill this out. All this information is necessary. Agency. Okay, let's do it. Okay, type on Virginia's keyboard. Agency. Perfect. Tribes. Name. Street. All of these are required. Let's see. Okay. And for instance, let's say if the official project contact and the project lead are the same. So something like fill out one of these boxes and same as above. Same as above. Same as above. So this one looks all complete. Click next. Good, we did that one. Nice. So the first page addressing strategies. The first topic we're touching on in the quarterly report is commercial tobacco. So is your ACORNS program developing and or implementing policies or programs related to preventing commercial tobacco use and exposure? And you'll see throughout the survey, I do provide examples just to describe what is meant by each strategy. And I'm also interchanging strategy with policies or programs, even though policy is a specific domain as compared to systems and environmental, but strategy basically covers all three of them. Understanding that we're still in the early stages of the ACORNS project, but just know that we're referring to strategies at this point. So this is a required question, so if we don't select yes or no, what happens? We once again get the red pop-up. This question requires an answer. Okay, so for all of these questions, I'm more or less going to show you what happens if you do yes or no. I built the SurveyMonkey, so it's fairly intuitive. And if you select no, then you have a certain sort of response in the next page that pops up. And if you select yes, then it's going to ask for that information. And if I didn't mention at this point, please stop me if you need any clarification. You need me to slow down. You just jump right in. Okay, so let's say hard time here. Okay. All right, we're going to continue. Donna, if you have any difficulties hearing, if it's echo, we can always touch base after the fact. I have no problem at all. We should definitely have the continued one-on-one conversations as well as these group meetings, but please feel free to either email me or Virginia, and I will definitely get back to you with any questions. Very responsive. Okay, so let's say you don't have a tobacco strategy. Click no. So what is going to happen? Then you'll see this no commercial tobacco strategy, which then will state on the screen that you selected that you're not developing a tobacco strategy, and then you'll see this question recurring similarly. Is this an area your ACORNS program would like to work on in the future? So then selecting yes or no, and these are required questions. So you can select yes or no at this point, either one, and then you'll also see please use the following space to share any comments related to commercial tobacco strategies. So you could describe your interest, your program's interest or abilities to implement commercial tobacco, and using this information we can then direct you to resources and help you if possible implement this commercial tobacco strategy. So let's go back. Let's say that you did have a tobacco strategy. Okay.
We're hearing yourself on the loop.
Okay, very good. So let's go back and say that you did have a commercial tobacco strategy. Okay, so this is referring to the prior page. So we do have a commercial tobacco strategy. So let's see what the page is going to bring up. So a few more questions than if you didn't. So here we are. Please select one or more than one. This checkbox options for this first question to describe your ACORNS commercial tobacco strategy. I do provide an other category if the options that I've listed don't describe strategy. So please, by all means, let's say you have the first one. Just selecting one, since these are all of these questions on the page except the last one are required. And just so we could see that it's required, what happens. There we go. This one's required as well. So then after selecting the box that most closely resembles your commercial tobacco strategy, we're asking that you please describe what the strategy entails. So it could be a brief description. You can go into somewhat depth if you'd like. Just provide something. So commercial-free tobacco areas is what you selected. Tobacco-free areas described. Okay, and then we're asking the setting of your tobacco strategy. So again, select all that are applicable, and if there's an other, by all means, select the other. So let's say it's both school and workplace. You have, say, 2 tobacco policies, both in school as well as perhaps the tribal workplace. And then we're asking to describe the setting as well as the population is reached. So this could be the location where you could indicate the number of people reached. I'm thinking this location, or as we get to the very, very bottom, there's also another opportunity. But to me, this is where it would, if possible, if you could indicate both the population, if it's school children, if it's the workforce, if it's employees of a casino, by all means, patrons of a casino, please indicate, as well as the number of people over the last 3 months who have been reached by this strategy. So number, as well as the description of the population, number and population. Number and population. Okay. Fantastic. All right, so after we've answered this question, then asking about the stage of the policy process. So this is each bullet as we go down the list is basically the next developed step of the policy process. So we're starting at the very, very beginning, developing problem definition, seeking what the problem is, seeing if there's agreement, agenda setting, putting an item on the agenda with the proposed solution, policy formation, adoption, then implementation. So we're going to select one of these. Let's say at this point you're forming the policy, and then we also have the question to describe your selection. So describing where you're at, just to provide a bit more detail than the selection. So detail about the status as well as the policy progress. Status and policy progress. Okay. Next question. Please describe any factors that assist in your strategy success. So again, it could be, I didn't enumerate examples, but these could be community resources, collaborations, which I do have pages further in the quarterly report about, but provide just factors that assist. Description, factors that assist. The next question, we're covering from assisting. Now we're going to be covering any challenges and or barriers that may affect the strategy's success. So again, provide some detail about challenges and or barriers. Okay, and then the last box, additional comments about your ACORNS commercial tobacco strategy. And this is a location where you could also, if you didn't provide up above the number of the population reached over the last 3 months, you could also put it down here. So one or the other would be much appreciated. Okay, since at this point we've completed this page, it seems we've answered all the questions that are required. We will move on to the next question. And also, where we previously answered before we selected that we do have an ACORNS tobacco strategy, we selected that we don't. So after that page, which then asked, were we interested in pursuing healthy eating, the tobacco strategy, it would bring it up to this page as well. And I can show that to you. So this is the page that we previously just completed. Let's go back a page once again. So then this is where we previously, if we don't have a commercial tobacco strategy, select no as we previously did. Move forward, and it's asking us, as we saw previously, are we interested in pursuing commercial tobacco strategy? Let's say yes. This is not a required box. So then if we selected no and then answer the following question, what happens? It will then bring us to the healthy eating strategy. So selecting yes or no will be moving forward in the survey. So this section will be focusing on healthy eating strategy, and many of the questions, this will go a little bit faster, are very much the same as the tobacco strategy, but this one obviously focusing on healthy eating, so such as a healthy food policy, setting guidelines, providing food vouchers for farmers markets, requiring restaurants to provide nutritional information, and so forth. So let us select, for instance, if we don't have a policy, what this screen will look like. It looks very much the same as you saw for the no tobacco commercial tobacco policy. So just specific this time to the healthy eating strategy. So again, first question is required. Is your program interested in pursuing work in this area, yes or no? So let's move back. We just clicked the previous button once again. So let's suggest that select that you do your tribal health program, tribal community does have a healthy eating strategy. So we select yes. And then see what the screen looks like. Again, this is going to look a lot like the commercial tobacco strategy, asking for the same questions, but this time specific to healthy eating. So again, let us see what questions are required. Every single question other than the last one, but you're just asking the same information, relevant information about the strategy. So again, this first question provided options as to common policies and strategies. Select the one or multiple ones, as well as possibly the other category, to best describe what your healthy eating strategy entails. So let's say you have a healthy food policy requiring restaurants. Again, providing a description. Explain strategy. The setting once again. Let's say you have a healthy eating strategy in your casino, which perhaps that could be a workplace, but you want it to be a little bit more descriptive, so you could put casino. So wherever you see the other setting or other, it will have the please specify box as well. So describe the setting, population, and number reached. Again, requesting the number reached there if possible. And again, you're going to see the stage of the policy process. Select appropriate response. Then explaining the status. The status. Then next question will be factors that assist, assisting factors. With the following question: challenges, barriers, and or barriers. And then the additional comment section. Okay, so this will conclude the healthy eating strategy portion, and then you're going to see the next strategy we're covering, increasing access to local foods, which is going to look very, very similar to both the healthy eating strategy as well as the commercial tobacco strategy questions, that you saw before. So we can kind of breeze through this a little bit since it's going to look very much the same. So let's suggest that you do have a healthy eating, a strategy to increase access to local foods. So select this. Again, it's going to have the options, common options. So say you have both community gardens, farmers markets, and all these questions are required except for the last one, as you saw on the prior ones. So explain strategy, selecting which as a location, describe the setting, population, number reached, stage of the policy process, status, assisting factors, challenges or barriers, or barriers, and then the additional comments, which again isn't required, but if you have any additional comments, please feel free to fill that section out. So next question. So this question is a little different. So asking if your ACORNS program is integrating strategies to increase access to local foods with the healthy eating strategies. So for instance, if you're integrating a healthy food policy with community garden, providing food vouchers for farmers market, or using the vegetables, the fruits that you are growing in the community garden to provide for official tribal health meetings, tribal community meetings. So if you're integrating them somehow, so then selecting yes or no. So for instance, let's suggest that at this point you don't have any integration. Let's see what the next screen is going to say. So it's going to say that no integration of the strategies. And this is going to look much the same as the prior 3 strategies. Is your ACORNS program interested in working on this in the future? So then you could select yes or no. And then that would bring you to the next bunch of questions, the next strategy question. But let's say that you do have an integration. So moving back to the prior screen, let's say you do have integration. So you select yes, move next. So then a very basic question, please explain the program's integration. So it could just be, say you're providing vouchers, providing food vouchers as part of healthy food policy for farmers market. So that could be an example of the integration. But provide a description, please. It is required response if you do have the integration. So we fill that out, and then we select yes, move to the next screen. And this is going to resemble, again, this strategy on increasing access to exercise and or physical activity. It's going to resemble, this series of questions are going to resemble the prior 4. So selecting yes or no if you have such a strategy, exercise, physical activity policy, complete streets plan, and so forth. So let's suggest that you do, selecting yes, because if you select no, then it's going to ask the question, is your ACORNS program interested in pursuing this in the future? So let's suggest yes, for the sake of avoiding redundancy. And then again, this page is going to seem somewhat familiar. So selecting which of the strategies most resemble your ACORNS program, ACORNS strategy, that is, selecting all that apply and explain strategy, the location, setting, population, number reached. Next question will be stage of the policy process, status, progress, assisting factors, challenges, and or barriers, and then the additional comments section, which once again is not required. Next. Okay, and then we have the next strategy, increasing access to health education resources that will improve the health beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. And this is another integration question. So how is your ACORNS program integrating access to health education resources with the prior 4 strategies: commercial tobacco, healthy eating, increasing access to local foods, and or increasing access to physical activity. So are you integrating those resources with these 4 strategies? So let's suggest that you don't have integration to this point. And what is that screen going to state? Basically the same as you saw before. If you selected no, is this an area that your ACORNS program would like to work on in the future? Okay, so let's say that you do have some sort of integration between the health education resources and at least one of the 4 domains. So what happens when we select yes and move forward to the next page? Well, then we're going to have a series of 4 boxes for you to describe those integrations of the health, increasing access to health education resources with each of those 4 domains: commercial tobacco, healthy eating, increasing access to local foods, increasing access to physical activity or exercise, as well as an additional comments box. So those 4 boxes are required. So if you don't have an integration among increasing access to health education resources and any of those 4, then please indicate. You can put not applicable or something that we don't have integration in this domain. But for those that you do have integration, please describe. So you can describe, let's say you do have integration with the commercial tobacco. You have this one, integration with healthy eating, resources in healthy eating. And for instance, if you don't have for increasing access to local foods, you can type not applicable. And let's say you don't also have increasing access to health education resources, not applicable. Applicable. You can also put NA if you like. I'm familiar with the NA shorthand. And additional comments, which is not required. So we will proceed forward after filling this screen out. Nearing the end. I know this is a lot, but we're getting very close to the end. So the last strategy that we're covering on the quarterly report, as was described in the first screen. So strategies to increase community clinical linkages, and examples: increasing access to community health representatives, talking circles, lactation support, increasing use of team-based care strategies. So let us click yes, because if we click no, we will once again be seeing the screen: is your ACORNS program interested in pursuing this in the future? So we'll click yes just to see what the screen looks like. So again, this is going to look very similar to the prior 5 individual strategy pages. So selecting which of the strategies most resembles your ACORNS program strategies, and or selecting the other category if it's not listed. So then explain strategy, setting, describe the setting. So setting, population, and number reached. Stage of the policy process, adopting the policy. We select status of the strategy. So describing the stage of the policy process as well as where you're at over these last 3 months. So describing then the assisting factors. Then we'll have the challenges and or barriers, and then the additional comments section if you had something additionally you wanted to include. All right, so clicking yes, and let's see what happens. So we've completed all of the strategy portion. So the meat of the quarterly report at this point will be in the past. So sigh of relief. All right, so then we're asking a question about your tribal community team. So we're asking you please list the names of the members on your ACORNS tribal community team, the TCT, as well as their community affiliation. So if they're with tribal leadership, school district, fire department, so forth. So we'll just enumerate. So one person, for example, name and say tribal leadership. Oh, tribal leadership. Oh, leadership. Capitalize. Okay, and we could just go down the list: name and school district, and so forth. Oops. Dot, dot, dot. We'll get this. We'll get it. Okay. So this lists, please, all of the members on your current tribal community team, and then we can move to the next page. And then we're asking about community resources. So as we had in the individual strategy pages, so the commercial tobacco, healthy eating, increasing access to physical activity, asking questions about factors that can assist in the success of your program. So that could be community resources, but we're asking that you describe here as well. So these might be resources that you've already enlisted, that you've already created partnerships with, but we're asking organizations, individuals who you are connecting with or that exist that you're yet to tap into, that you're yet to connect with. But just these resources that can help basically with the success of your ACORN strategy. So I have provided examples, but if there's something that's not on this list, by all means, please indicate it. So community resources, resource list, and brief description. There we go. So organizations and or individuals. Fantastic. So we've completed now the community resources page. Let us see, the next page will be partnerships. So related to the community resources, I would suggest that if you have a partner, they should be a community resource, but this is actually asking the resources that you've partnered with, that you are directly collaborating with to meet the needs and bring about the success of your ACORNS project. So I gave a list. If your partner isn't on this list, please use the other category. Just select all that you at this point have developed a partnership with, and then please describe each of these partnerships. And this is required. In the event that you don't have a partnership, then you could still write the not applicable or just that we don't have partnerships yet. But if there's budding partnerships that you still wanted to write about, that you get to have a formal meeting, you can describe that you are looking to develop a partnership, but there's something as to partnership that you're currently working on and or very much likely to get into, but we just want this section to be indicated. We want information as to partnerships and how we could. This information will then provide us with assistance, knowledge of additional assistance we can provide to connect you with those resources, as well as touching base as to the status of your partnership to meet the ACORNS program strategy successes. Okay, so partnership explain. Fantastic. So we've completed the partnership page, and we'll be moving to the next one, which is memorandum of understanding and or resolutions, which you establish or utilize with the partners for the chronic disease prevention and management strategies. So any MOU and or resolution that you have with partners for your ACORNS project. So again, this is a required question. And please provide a description of any MOU or resolution. If you don't have one at this point, then it could be, you could write that we don't have one or not applicable. But if you do have one, please provide a description. Describe. All right. So we've completed the MOU and a resolution page. We click next. And look, we've completed the survey. We do have this additional box on providing options and opportunities for you to provide comments throughout the survey. And this will be your last opportunity before submitting the survey, though as I mentioned, after you do submit the survey, you can return and change answers. So if you wanted to add a comment here or change any of the answers on the prior pages, you can do so. But again, just providing another opportunity to provide anything that you like to put in this box right here. So comments. You could also put, this could definitely be a catch-all. Could be if you wanted to provide specific extra assistance that you needed, description of assistance that is needed, you could write that there. We will definitely be following up with after reading through the quarterly reports. So you could provide a textual information as to assistance, and we will be following up. So anything you'd like to put here, by all means, please share. And if there's any sort of assistance that you need, please let that be known. With that being said, at this point, you can click the done, and then that will be submitting the survey as complete. But if you have any questions or anything you'd like to change, please be in contact with either Virginia or me, or please feel free to go back, jump right back into the survey and change your answers. So we click the done, we'll see, then it will be complete. So fantastic. I believe that is completed the portion of the quarterly report, and hopefully that was a good description as to what you will be seeing or that you've already seen. But if you have any other further questions about the quarterly report, please feel free to contact me and or Virginia, and she will direct me your questions and comments to me. So I'm going to hand it back over to Virginia. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I think I'm going to unmute everyone for a minute. When I unmute everyone, it gives a lot of feedback though, so I'm going to use this carefully, but we do want to hear from people. The link that was sent to you is not as long as what you're seeing on the screen. We only entered into a preview mode for today's presentation, so it'll look exactly the same, but the link that was sent to you should just be surveymonkey.com/ a couple of characters. It should not be 3 lines long. Couple of things I want to note, tips and reminders. You may start and finish the survey at another time. So we've noticed that some folks have already started the survey but have not completed it. That's fine. A couple other things. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the questions, or if you're finding that you're answering no to the strategy questions, if you're answering no to all of them, no, you're not implementing a tobacco policy, or no, you're not implementing something with physical activity, no, you're not doing something around nutrition, that should be a red flag for you and for us. So call us if you feel like you're not able to answer the questions, and we can work that through with you. Some of it may be, we do have a list of about 8 folks who have not responded to our recommendation letter. The recommendations letters that went out should have lined your work plan up to be able to say yes at some point to these strategies. This is only the first quarter, so you may be reporting really minimal work. We completely expect that in this first quarter. You're going to do the same survey again in your second quarter and in the final report. So expect that you're going to show progress on these, and that this first one may be minimal, that we expect to see that. This is not a test in any way. This is just for us to see where you're at and for us to have a really comprehensive report that we can use throughout the year. So it's okay if you're not reporting everything as being complete and you're really in the developmental stage. That's completely fine. Always remember, you can call or email us with questions. That's our job. Our job is to support you. Don't feel like you're bothering us or putting us out. The mini grants to everyone are, they're reasonable, but they're not huge. We know that none of you are employed full-time to do this work. So, feel free to call us, and if you need assistance on setting up tracking sheets, Andrew's absolutely excellent at that. And Julie and I can point resources. Julie and I were having a side conversation that there are a number of resources currently available to you all that the ACORNS tobacco program site has been doing. They've done a webinar on coalition building. They've done a webinar on policy development. Both of those presentations are available on our website, but we all are also available to go out on site and do training one-on-one with you specific to your program. We can also offer these trainings again if it's something that you want to see at one of our face-to-face trainings. So we have a convening coming up in April that you all should have heard about. If there's a topic that you really want to hear about, or you want to set up a side meeting with us during that time, please let me know. At the end of this webinar, will send out a reminder, save the date. We are not paying in advance for anyone's travel to that meeting, but we will reimburse you for your travel cost. Whether you have to rent a car, fly, if you're doing a personal car and need personal mileage reimbursement, The meeting is in Klamath, California on the Lower Yurok Reservation. It is very far north, so Google it. And start making your travel plans to attend. It's all going to be highly centered on these topics, and we'll have an opportunity to chat with you about the reporting and if you're struggling in any area. There is a block of rooms available at the Holiday Inn Express, the Redwood Inn right there in Klamath. I don't know what the room block code is yet, but I can send that out. Okay, we're not done. We do need you, I mentioned this very early on in the PowerPoint, that to take note of the progress column on your work plan. So Andrew did amend your work plans and sent them back to you with highlighted a progress column. So the progress column is where you're just going to tell us briefly how you're doing. This is actually somebody's work plan. If you recognize it, thank you for sharing it. I did try to delete everywhere where it made the mention. But what we're going to do is under progress where it says Tribe A will begin to advertise its CAP services. Tell us if you've began to advertise the services. We began on this date. All classes will begin December 1st. Tell us we didn't start classes till January 1st. Here's why. Or yes, we did start December 15th. This is how many people we had join. Not any more detailed than what you provided in the work plan. So if you provided one sentence in the work plan, don't give me a paragraph in the progress column. Just 1 to 2 sentences on how you're doing on each of these. Again, just that update section should be brief. We, as Andrew said, in the future, we will be adding a specific question on number of people reached to the report in the following quarters. It's not in there right now. He did highlight a few areas where you could add that information. It is also acceptable to add it up here in the number of people reached, where this program estimated 150. They would say at this time period they've reached 20, 30, whatever it is. Before I move on to complete others, I want to ask you if there are any questions. Thank you for those who are engaging the chat feature. If you have any questions about the work plan updates or the quarterly reporting process. Okay, again, email or call us. I have one little throw in here that's not on this topic. The California Tribal Epidemiology Center reached out to you all a couple of months ago about doing a community health profile, either regionally, for those of you who are single tribes, your health profile would be that of your local tribal health program. For those who are tribal health programs, your community health program will be, your community health profile will be specific to your clinic. If you haven't heard from them regarding a consent form, please contact Michael Mudgett immediately. If you have the consent form and you have questions, there's a reason you haven't submitted it, call Michael, email him, talk to him about it. They are going to be releasing that profile in the next couple of months. So they're really pretty, and they come printed very nicely, and they will be a great grant writing resource for you. So I encourage you to follow up with Michael on the community health profile. There's always so many people you can come to for help, but I'm giving them to you again. Myself, Andrew, Chris Cooper is our tobacco manager. You're going to start seeing a new, very beautiful logo coming out called SITE. That's the California Indian Tobacco Education Program. It is a program of ACORNS, a sister program. We're funded through a very similar funding stream, but it's very specific to tobacco cessation, and encouraging use of the quit lines. There is tobacco education in there, but it's pretty specific about cessation and quit lines. He does have funding available. He has mini grants of up to $8,000. They're similar. The RFA is very similarly structured to ours, so it shouldn't be a labor-intensive RFA by any means. It is completely separate. It's due February 4th. It was sent out January 4th. The site funding is not tied to the ACORNS funding, so you don't have to complete phase 2, or you didn't have to necessarily complete phase 1. It has nothing to do with our phases, although if you did do phase 1, some of your tobacco information you collected would be helpful in your grant. Chris and Julie are the two lead contacts for tobacco. Chris is graciously sharing Julie with me until Consuelo comes back. But those are the folks you want to contact if you didn't get that RFP and you want to do some specific work around tobacco. Consuelo Gambino, who you all know, returns in February. And so I put her email and her name here again to remind you of that, so you can contact her in just a couple of weeks when she's back. We are having, I don't even want to say we, because I have nothing to do with this, but the website, cribacorns.org, is moving to the crib main website, to the crib.org page. Crib.org was undergoing major construction when we were doing program development, so we had to set up our own page. We're very happy to be a part of the crib.org page again. The transition has come with some technical difficulties and some complications, so it has not been smooth. And at one point I had lost all content to cribacorns.org, so I am trying to get all of the recorded webinars back on the website so you can see them. That means that if you're looking for something in December that was offered in December and it's not there, email me and I can get that back on there. I'll let you know for sure when we've transitioned to crib.org. We have not made the transition yet, but it will likely be in February, and we'll be phasing out Crib Acorns. We're trying to be really tricky that if you go to Crib Acorns, it should redirect you to the new site. But our website is really, really just a resource to you. It's not a marketing platform. It is a platform where we can put up our resources and materials for you to review and download at any time. So please be using the website. If there's something that you wanted to find the blank template work plan, or the steps of how something happened or needs to be done, please check the website. It should be there. And if it's not there, it needs to be there. So let me know that. I see no questions in the poll. I will unmute everyone again and give you an opportunity to take questions one last time. Okay, thank you all for joining. We kept you the full hour this time, and we will be either promoting a tobacco webinar next month or hosting one of our own, likely based on what we see in the quarterly reports, so that we know where we should be focusing our attention. Bye. Happy Friday. Hope you all have a long weekend.
Thank you, Virginia.
Yes.